bit prep. Hello everybody, yes, you saw the thumbnail, and if you're a single parent, you're about to become a single parent, you have been for a while, or you know somebody who is a single parent and struggling, this video is for you, so stick around. Well, hi everybody and welcome back. It is so lovely to have you back. Happy December again. I hope you're all getting the Christmas mood. And I decided today that I was going to do this video on single parents, how to survive and how to thrive. Not just get through it, trudging through it, be on your own, feel like you've nobody out there to talk to. This was a request video by a couple of my beautiful ladies. And there could be men out there that are going through single parent struggles. And I think this is a really, really great time of year to address this problem and really embrace it. And I have been a single parent. I have been separated for 11 years and I have been divorced for 5 years. This is really the first time I've spoken about it. So if you're new here, I usually talk about handbags and luxuries and all of the rest of the beautiful stuff. But sometimes we have to talk about real issues, and I really feel like this really helps my viewers, my audience, and my Connolly colony. So, but before we start, we always start on a very positive note here on this channel. And I would like to give a huge shout out to Mallory Taylor. Hi Mallory, how are you, love? Mwah, big kiss, happy Christmas. And we also like to start off our day with a beautiful fragrance. And today I'm going with Portrait of a Lady. This is about €250. The top notes are rose, clove, which is very Christmassy, raspberry, blackcurrant and cinnamon. Mid notes are patchouli, incense and sandalwood. And the base notes are musk, benzoin and amber. This one, it's one of those ones I have to stop myself reaching for. It really is. I just... intoxicating. It is so, so beautiful. And people kind of say, you know, where are you going to wear these fragrances when we're not going out at the moment? I wear mine every single day. Every day I put on a fragrance, and it's one way to lift your mood, so take notes. Now this is going to be a bit of a chatty advice video, what I've been through, what I've learned, what I would suggest for you to do, and if I can be of any help, leave messages, leave comments, and always, if you wouldn't mind, like and subscribing to support my channel, that would be amazing. Now, without further ado, yes, I separated in 2010. And then we got divorced in 2016. And as I said, I don't really speak about this because my kids were quite young when we separated. So I was trying to protect them. And I think that a mother and a father or parent will always, always do those things. But I think the only way to help anybody through this situation is to talk about it. So you need support. Now, first of all, if you've come to this situation, you have been through an awful lot already. Because particularly for women, I'm going to talk about women mainly because it's my experience and I don't have the male side of the experience. So I'm only going to talk about what I know about personally. And from a woman's point of view, when you've got to that stage of, that's it, I've made the decision, we're separating, if it is your decision, you've already gone through a couple of years of emotional turmoil. You really have, because nobody wants to be in that situation. I certainly didn't. I come from a very traditional background. My parents are still together. I love them dearly. They're absolutely amazing examples of parents and how a marriage should work. So I certainly didn't have it ever in my head that it ever was going to, you know, be that way for me. Also, you know, I think a lot of people question themselves, like, what's wrong with me? I certainly did. I had, as they would say, a 5-star lifestyle. I know a lot of people watching this video today who either know me, know of me, or things like that, know the kind of lifestyle I had. So it was a lifestyle that was very hard to give up. I was traveling all the time, beautiful hotels, beautiful holidays, beautiful jewelry, beautiful gifts, beautiful everything, beautiful family, beautiful home. But that's not always enough. And it's not the case where, you know, and I actually used to say to myself, Viv, what is wrong with you? I used to feel like I was going mad. I actually went up to my doctor. I wasn't feeling great. And actually, it turns out I had postnatal depression as well. So she said, look, once you address this situation and you're the very one who's saying what's wrong with me, you're definitely not going mad. You're a very sane individual. You're just very sad at the moment. So I couldn't understand it, because I did love my husband, but we, I suppose, fell out of love, or I just didn't find him emotionally there for me. I felt very alone. I felt lonely. I felt really, really lonely. And I mean, I remember being on holidays and just feeling, sitting out in balconies by myself with a glass of wine, kind of going, what's wrong with me, in the most beautiful destinations. And it just wasn't working. So I'm not going to go into the ins and outs of it, but I just need you to know that if you're in this situation and if you're feeling this way and you're kind of questioning yourself, what's wrong with me? Like, people go, God, he's not an alcoholic and he's not beating you up and he's not doing this. And you're like, yeah, but that, just because he's not abusing me that way, it could be more emotional abuse or lack of emotion or just not being there for you and not loving and caring and things. So it will take you a long time to get there. And once women get there and the decision is made, I found 9 times out of 10, that's it. There's no going back. The woman, I think, has done the grieving while she's still with her husband or partner or whatever the case may be. As I said, it's so hard to make that decision in the first place. I think it really, you've stayed there, you've worked through it, slept in separate bedrooms probably for a while, went out with your friends, went partying, did whatever you needed to do to make yourself feel happy and maybe stay in the situation and bargain with yourself and all of this kind of stuff. But at the end, it's still not working and you're still not feeling any better. Whereas the man, I feel with my ex, he felt kind of that, even though I had expressed myself the whole way through, I had actually said that, let's go to marriage counselling. He came twice. And on the third time, he said he had a meeting and he was busy. So he didn't bother to turn up. That was the day I decided, that's it. That's it. I'm trying here. And if he doesn't think this is important enough, or maybe the counsellor was getting, too far in, he didn't like it. I'm not sure what his reasons are, but I just know for a fact that was the day that I made the decision and there was no going back for me. So I do think sometimes men feel a little bit blown over, thinking this has come out of the blue and, what are you talking about? And you have this lovely life and what's wrong with you and all this kind of stuff, and that it comes from nowhere. But realistically, you've been expressing your emotions for maybe possibly 2 years. And, maybe you're being told to put up or shut up or get back to your station or, little digs like this, or go out and get a real job or things like this when you're at home with your small babies, that you're just not being listened to, you're not being heard. I remember one time when I was feeling really, really down and I expressed it to my ex-husband and he walked out of the room. So I just felt lonely, and that is something you are going to experience. But I will also say you can be a lot more lonely if you're afraid to leave your relationship and you're afraid if you haven't got, taken the plunge yet. You can be a lot more lonely with a lot of people around you sometimes than when you're alone by yourself and enjoying your company and in a healthy mind space. That is something I will say to all of you out there. Don't be afraid. There is nothing to be afraid. There is nothing to be afraid of. So if you're in a toxic, abusive, any kind of those kind of relationships, make the plunge, get some emotional support from family and friends. This is the time when you need them. This is the time when you're going to find out who your real friends and your real family are, who's along for just the ride and who's along to support and be there as a really true friend or a family member. So really reach out to somebody and help yourself there. Also, manage your expectations. Some people think, I'm just going to be grand, it's going to be a party, it's going to be this, it's going to be that. When you break up with somebody and you're going to be this single parent, you're going to go through, it's like grief, you're going to go through 7 different stages. You're going to be angry, you're going to be happy, you're going to be sad, you're going to go through bargaining, you're going to go through the pain and the guilt and so many different emotions. So expect a roller coaster. But I have to say, I have absolutely zero regrets, absolutely none, even though it was one of the toughest decisions I ever made. And I actually remember somebody saying to me, God, you're so brave. And I said, don't call me brave. There's a very fine line between brave and stupid. So, but I have to say, looking back, and now, as I said, I'm 11 years separated, 5 years divorced. It's been a long, tough journey, and it's still going on because obviously we have 2 kids together. But, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. What I would advise also, of course, is that try, and it's not always possible and it's not always easy, but try to keep the kids out of it as much as you can, because there's going to be resentment, there's going to be anger, there's going to be blame, there's going to be, it was his fault or her fault, or he's going to blame you and you're going to blame him. And to be very honest, as adults, it's both your faults. It's my fault, it's my ex's fault. for not showing up properly. It's both of our fault. It just didn't work, and it's certainly not your kids' fault. So, you know, difficult times like birthdays and Christmas and holidays are coming up. So I know some of you out there are going to experience these emotions, possibly be alone on Christmas Day. I'm going to be alone for some of Christmas Day, but I've gotten used to it. And I now cherish it, actually, because mine are teenagers, so you can imagine. So what you do is you make new memories, and I hope anybody out there isn't too upset or whatever, but just make the new memories for birthdays and new memories for Christmas. Normal is, you know, your normal and my normal are two very different things. Normal is what you make it. Normal isn't what everyone thinks normal is. It's what's normal to you. If your Christmas Day is getting up with your kids for a few hours when Santa comes and opening presents, and then they go and visit their dad if he's nearby, hopefully, gives you a couple of hours to get ready and look on the bright side and be happy and go, right, I'm going to do my hair and makeup, and I'm going to put on some nice music, and I might have a glass of Bucks Fizz or champagne or something like that, and I might just beautify myself. So for the first couple of years, I have to say, it's so difficult. All these new, you know, because it's particularly if you're a traditional person, and it's the new routines, and it's the new this and the new that. The only constant thing in anybody's life is change. And if you embrace change, and I was one of those people as well, where I just loved everything to be the same, traditional, as I said, from a very traditional background. But if you embrace the change, and if you say to yourself, well, this is new now. Like one year, I invited my ex and his new partner to Christmas Eve dinner, and we all went out for dinner. Myself, my ex, his new partner, and our two children. And what my reasoning for that was that, you know, there was nobody in our situation. We broke up. There was nobody else involved, as far as I know. But anyway, at the time there wasn't. And so there was no animosity that way. So the kids had a great time. I'm not saying, you know, things have been rosy in the garden and perfect since. They haven't. But, you know, I've tried to make it as amicable as possible. I've invited my ex and his partner to birthday parties. I've invited his extended family to different events, and my kids' parties out in restaurants and stuff like that. There's so many things that you can do to make the kids feel that they are loved, and that is the number one thing. The kids need to feel loved and secure. And I could go on about this forever, because that was another thing. You know, relationships, jumping into relationships straight after you break up with somebody as a single parent. You might go, Viv, you know, how do you date when you're a single parent? That if you're interested, let me know down below. I can do another video on that, because I've done that too. And but I don't want this video to be too long, so I'm not going to jump into it too much, only to say that my focus was on my two children. They were only 6 and 4 when we broke up. So I did see a couple of people, didn't work out. And what you will find out also is the stakes are higher when you have kids and you're going to meet somebody. You know, you want them to get on with that person, everything they do. You're kind of, you know, when you go on a date, you're like, oh my, would my kids like him or her? You know, oh, he does this, so I wouldn't like the kids to see that. So the stakes are much higher. And it's different for the guy if he's not living. If you're living still in the family home, this is my kid's home. I don't want my daughter, particularly now, as a teenager, if she's going around in her little shorts or whatever she's going around in, that she has to cover up and be different and act different because my boyfriend is in the house. Or equally, if she's over in her dad's and her dad's partner isn't making her feel safe or nurtured or secure. Those things to me are so important, because the kids are innocent. But you can do this, you can do it. And even though, like, the blessings, and I'm just going to talk about this for a minute because it's so important. The blessings of when you do, there's blessings in everything, by the way, and a silver lining in everything. And what I love is I have my spark back. I remember a good friend of mine saying to me years and years ago when I wasn't, feeling that well, and he was like, Viv, you need to get the spark back in your eyes. And I have the spark back, I have the joy, I have the love, and just so much gratitude to feel this way again. Do you know what? To be very honest, I remember laughing smiling or whatever, and I was down at my parents' house, and my dad actually said to me one day, he said, do you know what, Viv? He said, you used to laugh an awful lot when you were younger. Yeah, and he was kind of meaning that, he didn't want to hurt me, but he was like, she doesn't really laugh anymore. And I genuinely felt that, you know, that belly laugh that you get, I get it so much now again, thank God, that belly laugh that you can get when you're with friends and family and truly, truly happy. I used to think, this is what I actually started to believe. This is how mad you can actually start to become. I actually used to think, that's only when you're younger, you laugh like that. You don't laugh like that when you're an adult. Wrong. I belly laugh so much now, again, thank God, as it's the best emotion ever. And you will too. If you're watching this and you're upset, as this is a long video, so take me on your walk or, you know, on your chores or something like that, and it's just like a chatty video. But as I said, you will laugh again, I promise you. I certainly wouldn't have found this side of myself, the YouTube side. I wouldn't have found all of you guys, because I would have been complacent, and I would have just supported my husband if I hadn't have left and followed my heart. You need to follow your heart. You need to follow your intuition, and it will guide you. I promise you, it will guide you. I know some of you are in difficult financial circumstances, and it's not always that easy to leave or to live in a separate house. Financially, at the moment, it's just so hard for people. But if at all you can get out for a couple of weeks and go and stay with a friend or a parent or somebody, I think it's really, really important. Also, I think it's important to do some homework before you do leave. I didn't do that. And that is another topic we could touch on another day. So other things that I would advise if you're a single parent is just know you are enough. You know that you're enough, you're good enough. And because we feel guilty for the life that our kids could have had, or breaking up the family unit, I will never forget, that was one of the biggest things for me that was so difficult, that my kids weren't going to come from the home that I had come from, with a mum and a dad in the house and all that goes with that. But what I will say is my kids are in a very loving home. They're very happy kids. They're very free, and we're honest with each other. We're straight up. And it could have been a situation where, you know, me and their dad could have stayed together and all they heard was fighting and it was angry and they got caught up in the middle of it all. So I will advise anybody, do not stay for the sake of the kids, for the sake of, you know, you do an awful lot more damage, I believe, and in my experience, this is my personal experience, by staying there pretending, because you're not showing the kids what the idea and a proper example of true love really, really is. They're going to put up with the same things that you put up with. So particularly if you have daughters and you're a mom and you're going to show your daughter, well, this is okay to treat people like this, or to ignore people, or to whatever the case may be in your situation. It's not okay for your kids to see that. We cannot protect them from everything. And I think as a mother and father, that is one thing we want to do with our kids. We become, it's so like, we're like animals. We really, really are. And it's so visceral how you feel for your kids and protection you have for your kids. Like if anybody, you know, threatens my kids, I'll go for them. I really, really, and that is pure animalistic kind of traits in a mother's love, also father's love. And I just think that, yes, you know, none of us want our kids to go through grief and sadness, but that's a part of life. It's a part of life we can't protect them from, and we have to show them what real life is about. It's going to make them resilient. It's going to give them strength of character. If they fall down, they'll get back up again. And, you know, there's a way for people to be happy properly, you know, really, truly happy, and that you don't have to live under the same roof. Thank God my ex doesn't live too far away from my kids, not for me. And he's moved on with another partner, and they have another child. So Ben and Katie have another sibling. So that's all wonderful for them. I haven't. I'm still single, and I'm very, very happy. I have had a few relationships, but I just feel, as I said to you, this is my kids' home, and there's plenty of time for me, believe you me. Another tip I would say to you ladies, if you're a single parent, or gents, go and travel alone. I have done it so many times, and it is exhilarating. And you make such an effort on your own. There's lots of ways you can do it. There's Travel Girls Alone. There's so many different websites you can look up now. Again, message me if you want to know any. I travel with different groups, and I travel on my own totally. I've gone to Santorini, I've gone to Turkey, I've gone to Morocco. Where else have I gone? I've gone to Italy. so many different places and had the most amazing times, because what you do when you travel alone is you make more of an effort with people, and it's a completely different vibe. And because when you're in your couple unit, you stay together, you've no need to kind of converse with anybody else, whereas you make an effort when you're on your own and you meet the most amazing people, and you also meet very like-minded people. Go for coffees on your own, go for dinner on your own. I do all of these things, and it's amazing because people will just chat to you because they're like, oh my god, that person's just by themselves. Let yourself be vulnerable. It's okay. I have to say, my neighbours and things have been lovely. They'd always invite me to parties in their house and Christmas and different things like that, and with different neighbours, and I've been very, very lucky that way. But there's just always a way, and a better way, than if you're feeling sad every single day and you're worried, how, if I break up with my partner, how am I gonna you do it on my own? You will be able to do it on your own, and also share the chores. He's 50% responsible for the pickups and the drop-offs, and there's going to be bumps along the road. There really, really is, but that's just life. But there is help out there, and your kids will get older, and they'll move on with their friends, and if you're in a situation you haven't left a toxic situation, you're just left as a shell of yourself. When you break up with somebody, you learn DIY skills. You learn all of these kind of things. You want to see me putting up Christmas lights? I'm amazing. I get a drill out, no problem. So I painted the studio myself. Like, there's just so much you find out about yourself. There's so much you learn so much about yourself, how strong you are. And once you find out that you can be like a phoenix and rise again, and no one's going to keep you down, there is nothing stopping you. And I think that was one of the things that helped me with my YouTube channel. So I was like, the shame and guilt of the breakup was massive, because a lot of people would have known us and our situation, and I didn't want to let my parents down, and I'd never caused them any trouble ever a day in my life. So this was huge, and I knew it was going to be devastating because they're so traditional. But once you get over that and you survive it, and you get on, and you realize people get on with their lives and they really don't care, you'll do anything. You're absolutely fearless, because you kind of go, well, I actually don't care what people think anymore. And that might sound very cold, but it's not. It's so liberating and freeing, and you just kind of go, who cares what people think? I do not care anymore. I've said this before. It's one good thing about getting older is not giving about what people think anymore. You just do you. And if people are going to laugh, people are going to talk, people are going to gossip, they're going to do it anyway. And sure, they might as well be doing it about you. If they're not doing it about you, you're not very interesting, are you? So, give it a go, whatever that is. What else did I want to say about single parenting? I just want the support. I just think people need support. And if you're dealing with a bully, you have to set boundaries, because I had found definitely my ex was very controlling, and I don't need to be controlled. Nobody needs to be controlled. And so I just think you have to set boundaries with bullies and control freaks, and kind of go, I don't need to be controlled or bullied. Thank you very much. I'm a fully ass grown woman. I'm well able to make my own decisions and my own choices, and I don't need to be controlled. So you do need to set boundaries. Know that you can't control everything. And one thing I was doing was wondering what was going on in my ex's house so that my kids were safe. But I've learned, because I keep working on myself, that I control now what goes on in this house, how my kids feel when they're with me in my house. What goes on really in my ex's house is none of my business. And for a long time, that's very hard to detach all of those feelings and kind of go, well, have they enough toilet paper and have they enough toothpaste? And because this is another thing with stepmoms and taking on other people's kids and stuff like that. I don't mean to say anything bad about anybody. I know there are a lot of people in situations where they absolutely love their stepkids and all the rest of it. But I personally feel, as a mother, nobody can love your kids like you do. Like, sometimes you don't even like your kids. When they're being little assholes. You don't like them, but you love them unconditionally, no matter what. And I just feel sometimes when in other situations, they're not getting the nurture as much as possible, because you just can't love your kids like the mother of the children. You just cannot. It's not possible. Now, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong, and you're in a situation where you go, Viv, I've got stepkids and I absolutely adore them. feel free. I'm just, again, talking about my personal situation. Plus, my ex, you know, did the normal thing of getting somebody who's 14 years younger, so they're totally in a different headspace, you know. Cliche, but there you go. So that's all I have to say, I think, today on the single parenting thing. Only just, if you are wondering to make that decision, if you're doubting yourself, you're not mad, you're not insane. Go with your gut, go with your heart. You will get through this. It is difficult, but so is staying in an unhappy relationship that's bad for your child and for you mentally or even physically. And I know, particularly what's been going on over the last 2 years, that a lot of people are in this situation. So reach out to me, reach out in the comments, DM me on Instagram, subscribe, and as I said, like, comment, and share it with somebody. If this isn't you, but you know somebody in this situation, I want my videos to be helpful. I don't want to, I've said this in the very, very start of my videos, I do not want to do just videos on unboxings or handbags or luxury. I love those videos and I love doing those with you guys, and my videos will be fun, but I also want to get to the root of helping people and being there and sharing my experiences, so then that's of some value to all of you out there maybe struggling. So message me. I hope you're well. We're getting close to Christmas. My next video will be lovely and light and airy, and it'll be handbag related. So tune in for that one. And as I said, please subscribe and comment. Mind yourselves, mind your health, mind everybody, and you will laugh and you will love again. Love you lots. Be kind, be safe, be compassionate. Mwah. Take care.